Sure. This is hymn number 306. Please enjoy humming along with us if you would like.
Seated. Kathleen, would you come and do our board greeting this morning?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Kathleen Luck, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees here at South Valley Unitarian Universalist Society. My pronouns are she and her. Come, whoever you are. You are welcome here. No matter your age, your size, the color of your eyes, your hair, your skin, you are welcome here. No matter your gender, whom you love, or how you speak, or whatever your abilities, you are welcome here. You are welcome here whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears in your eyes. You are welcome here. No matter what you have experienced in the past, no matter what awaits you in the future, you are welcome here. Whether you believe in God all of the time, some of the time, or none of the time, you are welcome here. This is a community of open minds, loving hearts, and willing hands. You are welcome here at South Valley Unitarian Universalist Society.
As we enter now into a time of worship, we begin with an acknowledgement of the land. This area that this church is planted on, now known as the Greater Salt Lake Metropolitan Area, was named after the Ute tribe and is home to the Shoshone, Paiute, Goshute, and Ute tribes. This place has always been a gathering place and a crossroads for indigenous peoples. We acknowledge that these lands were stolen and its peoples were ravaged by disease, forced migration, famine, cultural and physical genocide at the hands and the policies of white colonial settlers. As Unitarian Universalists, we acknowledge the complex and violent history we are each a legacy to, and we commit ourselves to undoing the harms perpetuated by colonialism. We are called to stand in solidarity with those seeking justice, and we seek to authentically and with honesty, engage in the necessary work that will produce justice for those disenfranchised and that promotes healing for the whole of our community and all of its peoples and all of those who walk, crawl, swim, or fly in our water, in our air, and on our land. Our call to worship this morning was written by Joy Harjo, who was the Poet Laureate for the United States. This is her poem entitled Beyond. Beyond sunrise, there is a song we follow. Beyond clouds, traveling with rain humped on their backs, lightning in their fists. Beyond the blue horizon where our ancestors appear bearing gifts, wrapped in blankets woven with sun and strands of scarlet time. Beyond the footpaths we walk every day, from sunrise to kitchen to work to garden to play to sunset to dark and back. Beyond where the baby sleeps, her breath a light mist of happiness, masking a fine rainbow of becoming knowledgeable all around us. Beyond the children learning alphabets and numbers, bent over their sticks and dolls as they play war and family, grow human paths. Beyond the grandmothers and grandfathers, their mothers and fathers, and in the marrow of their bones, to when that song was first sung, we traveled on beyond sunset. Can you hear it? The shaking of shells, the drumming of feet, the singers singing, all of us, all at once, in the song of beyond, how deep we are. Let us worship and be glad in ourselves, in this time, this place, and then the healing that is available by our being gathered together. And now it's time for our story for all ages. I'm super excited. Let's see what Rob has cooked up for us today.
Good morning, church. This is a short story by Bonnie McCain. Why is there Halloween? Asked 10-year-old Sean one day while visiting his grandfather, who loved to tell stories. His grandfather pondered a few moments and then started the story the way that Sean likes best. Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, before there were computers, TVs, or cars, or even electricity, a time when people went from place to place by walking or by riding a horse, a time when families gathered near the fire to stay warm as the weather turned cold, a time when families were aware of the importance of taking time to remember and honor those who have gone before them, their ancestors, remembering their struggles and sorrows and their celebrations and successes. A time when children listened to stories that answered our curious questions. Long before people were called Christians or pagans, there was a clan called Celts who lived on a beautiful green island. And on this island, at the end of each summer harvest, they would have a huge party called the Festival of Samhain. It marks the end of the year when the skies darken early and the weather turns cold. They know that some among them may not survive the winter. They would gather and build a giant bonfire and share the harvest with neighbors and talk with one another and with friends. For entertainment during the celebration, the Celts would wear costumes and try to tell each other's fortunes. They had fun singing and dancing and playing all sorts of games. And at the end of the celebration, they carried embers from the bonfire in a turnip to light their fireplaces at home, to help protect them during the winter. Then, one day, the Romans conquered the Celtic lands. The Romans combined two of their festivals with the Celtic celebration of Samhain. One was Feralia, a day in late October when the Romans honored the dead. The other honored Pomona, the Roman goddess of fruit and trees. The apple is the symbol of Pomona. Is that why we play bobbing for apples on Halloween, Grandpa? Asked Sean. Yes, that's right, said Sean's grandfather. Many years later, Christianity spread to Celtic lands. The Pope replaced the Celtic festival with a religious holiday, and November 1st became All Hallowmans, or All Saints' Day. The night before, which was the night of Samhain, became All Hallows' Eve and eventually Halloween. The celebration remained similar to Samhain. They still had bonfires, costumes, parties, and parades. And when Europeans came to America, they brought some of their Halloween traditions with them. As the traditions of the different ethnic groups meshed, an American version appeared. Dressing up in costumes, going from house to house and asking for money or food are customs from Ireland and from England. These customs became America's trick-or-treat tradition. When the Irish, the original Celts, came to America, they found pumpkins to be more plentiful than the turnips that they used for jack-o'-lanterns. So a hollowed-out pumpkin became the American jack-o'-lantern. These are the traditions that have brought us Halloween. But remember, Sean, it is important to take time this season to remember our families, to remember our loved ones and our friends, those who have gone before us, our ancestors. And also, this is an important time to consider those things that, like the harvest, we want to gather or let go of, and what seeds in our lives we might want to let hibernate and anticipate what will grow in us and in our lives come springtime. Sean's grandfather stopped to look at his watch. Time to go, Sean. The party will be starting soon. Thank you, Grandpa, said Sean as he went upstairs to find his costume. Now at this time, I invite our young people to join us downstairs for our religious education activities.
This community, our church, and its many ministries are only made possible by the gifts you give of your time, your talent, and your treasure. Many of you pledge monthly to support our work, and for this, we are grateful. Your gifts help to ensure that we are able to live our values of love and justice in the world outside. This morning, as we take our offering, you can do that through two different venues. For those at home, you can use our Breeze app and make an online donation. For those of you who have the order of service pulled up, you can also do your donation online. If you prefer to do a physical offering, we do have some baskets in the back. Part of our ministry here at South Valley includes sharing our Sunday worship offerings with a charitable organization that aligns with our gifts, with our principles and values, I should say. Your gift today will support the work of South Valley and the Utah Refugee Connection. The Utah Refugee Connection has been welcoming refugees from Afghanistan in the last few weeks and months. There are approximately 65,000 refugees living in Utah currently that have been helped in part by Utah Refugee Connection. And Utah is one of 19 states that is currently welcoming Afghan refugees. Please give generously as you can. Please join me in reading our offertory words. They are printed in your online order of service, or perhaps you remember them from when we used to gather in person. We are this church. We are its hands, its heart, and its voice. Together we share the wealth of this community and sustain it with our gifts. I welcome you now to the rituals of Samhain. It is a season of change, a time of going inside to nurture seeds of what is changing within us. As the earth holds the seeds in the ground, it's a time of remembering and connecting with those who have passed over. We begin by acknowledging that our celebration takes place on the ancestral and unceded lands of the Shoshone, Paiute, Goshute, and Ute tribes. We pay our respects to the honors, to the elders, both past and present, and to their stewarding of the lands throughout the generations. We pledge ourselves to honor and respect the earth, our mother, through our celebration this morning. Let us now open our circle by calling the directions. Okay, you're going to try to say it really loud? Okay.
I invite you all to stand and by your spirit and face the direction of east. All right. We summon you and call you forth, O ancient ones of thought and sound, rising, moving in concentration, this season's night in clear, still air, vibrations felt, clear, resounding, in the sound of drums pounding, of life's breath and heartfelt love. Come be with us this season's night, join in our holy rite, O ancient ones of power, so mote it be.
May we turn to the south, please? We summon you and call you forth, O ancient ones of fire and light, burning bright from bale fires this dark night, smoldering ashes of times long past, leaping, rising, consuming young and old, in remembered lives and loves untold. Come be with us this season's night. Join us in our holy rite, O ancient ones of power, so mote it be. I haven't lit my candle.
All right, if we can all face west. We summon and call you forth, O ancient ones of seas and oceans living deep within the mother's waters and raining tears of joy and sorrow on sacred altars of sons and daughters. Come be with us this sacred night. Join us in our holy rite, O ancient ones of power. So mote it be.
I invite you all to turn and face the north. We summon you and call you forth, O ancient ones, thrusting upwards to skies so dark and deep within the mother's heart. Sacred mountains and stones of power, come be with us this season's night. Join us in this holy rite, O ancient ones of power, so mote it be.
Samhain is a celebration.
So Samhain, as Rob was saying, is a celebration of the bringing in of the last of the harvest before winter. So you can, and so in pagan practice, it is the end. It's always the end of one year to celebrate the year of the turning of the year. So it's the end of the 1 year, and it's the beginning of another. And it's the time of year when it's believed that the veil that separates the world of the living and the spirit is the thinnest, because in that night, because of the turning of the year. So that's the time when you reflect upon the people who've gone before, either in this year or in your lifetime, and it's a time for reflecting on the past with gratitude and reflecting upon your ancestors. We meet within these blessed bounds to celebrate Samhain, the time of passing from one season to the next, passing from the old year to the new, passing from life to death to life. The pumpkins are ripe in the fields as the north wind chills the air. The earth is dark and cold and brown, the earth that was so fair. The wheel has turned full cycle from birth to death at last, and we look back for knowledge from the life that now has passed, the knowledge that is the seed of all we will be and feel, the knowledge that comes from living the turning of the wheel.
At this time, all gathered here in the sanctuary are invited to come forward and light a candle or place the object that you brought to represent your loved one that has passed on our altar. For those at home, I encourage you to light a candle and enter into the chat box on YouTube the names of your beloved departed. As you move through this ritual, take your time. Pause and remember all those upon whose shoulders you stand, all those that gave you encouragement, all those that you would call ancestor, be they given, chosen, found, or discovered, whether you met them in this life or not. Call and invoke them, invite them to be your guide in this time and in this place. What is remembered in your mind, your voice, and your heart lives. I invite you to come up this side to the altar and pause, and then return to your seat as you wish. our central chalice candle, we now light this candle at the center, representing those whose bodies and lives have been ravaged or changed or lost during the last 18 months in the pandemic. Over 4.9 million people have lost their lives to COVID-19. Let us pause in silent witness and solidarity to that terrible loss of life. Let us now call out the names of our beloved into this hallowed space. Speak the name of those you are remembering this morning. And don't worry if you speak over one another. All those voices are heard. Hearts thus open. Let us shake off the tears and recognize that they are still with us in our hearts and our minds, and it is a joy to have known them in our lives. Today is not a day necessarily alone for sorrow. It is also a day of celebrating those human and animal and plant and life bonds that we share with one another over the course of our living. So do not only be sad, also be joyful for the ways in which these people and animals have touched and transformed and enlivened your living and made you thus a deeper, connected spirit to the earth. I offer you a poem from my own ancestry. My grandmothers are a part of me, complexly so. All three were given, the first two by blood, and the third by love later in my grandfather's life. One gave me unconditional love, warmth, an always full cookie jar. Oreos were her favorite, and homemade jam. Another insisted on culture, education, and service to others. I didn't much like those rose-flavored candies she gave me. And the last was all kindness and delight, inviting me to see beauty. Her art is on my walls, soft and flowing watercolors. Two, I would still choose. One, I pray found grace. Forgiveness is work, as is healing to wholeness. Each uncertain step onto new ground, surprising me with its overwhelming love. I am a granddaughter, a daughter, and a mother already. And one day I will be an ancestor too, perhaps. These things came to me through my grandmothers. My hands, though, these are not from them. These hands, my hands, are my grandfather's. Lover of Klondike bars and the ocean and hard-boiled eggs with toast. Once we walked the beach after a storm, marveling at the rooms now exposed. A box of Cheerios still upright on a kitchen table. The milk probably spoiled in the end. I named my daughter after him because he made me feel safe, loved. She did not get his hands, though. Her hands are good, too. My grandfather gave his hands to my father, and in turn, he gave them to me. And now I have given them to my son. Mine are large, too much for many gloves, enough for a full key on the piano, and good for cradling babies' heads. Hands say a lot about a person. I always look at a person's hands when I am first meeting them, for they tell me who you are. I look for kindness there, and also what you might need from my hands as we walk together this way or that. So I invite you now to think about your own presence on the planet and what you have been given and what you pass on. I invite you now to join me in a time of meditation, reflection, or prayer. Spirit of life, goddess and God, unnamed being that moves through the universe, force of life. We sit in the cradle of creation. We are but small individual beings in a vast and complicated, ever-unfolding universe. Let us be grateful for the embodiment that we have been given. Maybe breathe into that embodiment. Not everyone is gifted with an easy embodiment. For some of us, chronic pain is a part of that embodiment. And for others, there are limitations of the senses. For each of us called to find our way into embodiment, we seek to connect with those who are also embodied around us. Spirit, we just ask that you would help us to care for the bodies that we are in and for the bodies in our care, be they plant bodies, animal bodies, small bodies, large bodies, able bodies, or temporarily disabled bodies, or bodies that are differently abled. May wisdom and love and truth and care and compassion enliven each of our bodies. We are grateful for the gift of life. Goddess and God of the Samhain season, thank you for watching over and being with us in our circle tonight. Thank you for sharing your strength and power, your wisdom and your love. Go if you must. Stay if you will. So mote it be. Our ritual is coming to its close. We will now release the directions.
Spirit of the earth, in which the seeds will sleep until they blossom in the spring, hail and farewell.
Spirit of water, which will fall as snow upon the sleeping ground to nurse the seeds in springtime, hail and farewell.
Spirit of the sun, whose energy is stored in the seeds in springtime, hail and farewell.
Spirit of the air, moving over all the earth, hail and farewell.
Let us pause now as we bring this ritual to a close, and then John will lead us out in song.
Hymn 18, if you'd like to join. What wondrous love is this, O my soul, O my soul? What wondrous love is this, O my soul? What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, and takes away the pain of my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down beneath my sorrow's ground, friends to me gathered round, oh my soul, oh my soul. Friends to me gathered round, oh my soul. To love and to all friends I will sing, I will sing. To love and to all friends I will sing. To love and to all friends who pain and sorrow mend, with thanks unto the end I will sing, I will sing. With thanks unto the end I will sing.
Let us now extinguish our communal chalice. If you would like to say the words along with me, please feel free. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, or the energy of action. These we hold each other in our hearts until we meet again. Please be seated for the postlude. You're already seated, so you can stay seated. At the close of the postlude, in order to promote good COVID practice, the musicians and myself will be processing out. Give us a moment to escape, and then we invite you to join us on the front lawn for social hour.
This song, written by Charles Ives, is to a poem by the great German poet Goethe, and this was by many considered to be kind of the perfect embodiment of the German language in a poem. And I just wanted to read the text for you in continuing with our theme that we've had of trees, and with today's theme. The text in English reads thus. Over all the treetops is rest, is rest. A gentle breeze scarcely stirs their waving crest, their waving crest. All the birds are silent, each in his quiet nest. So my heart waiting, soon will rest, will rest, will rest.
Ist Ruh. In allen Weben spürest du kaum einen Hauch, kaum einen Hauch. Die Vögelein schweigen, die Vögelein im Walde warten nur balde, warten nur balde, ruhest du, ruhest